There we are.
Very awesome.
That was cool.
Very cool.
And it did have sound. I know we couldn't hear it, but everybody else could hear it.
Yeah, it was great.
So good evening.
Good evening.
Monaz people. Welcome. We're going to do things a little bit more along the lines of what Carla and I would normally do.
That's right. Well, I noticed, you contacted me this afternoon about if I would come in tonight and do this, and I thought right away, they got this great thing of Todd and Carla, and PT and Carla, and then they got this pose where he's hugging Carla. I thought maybe we should simulate that tonight, but we should have
opened up with our arms around each other,
or not.
That might not have worked. But it is good to be with you. We'll put together a devotion. Tim Friesen in the house. If you don't know who Tim is our worship. Go back to that. What a hat! Look at that.
Yes,
that is a bass clef, correct?
Yes, that is a bass clef.
Wow.
Yes,
I
student
like that.
gave that to me.
Oh yeah.
So yep.
Well, very cool. So Tim, if you don't know, is the worship leader here at the church, and I thought, Carla's still not feeling well. We need to be praying for Carla.
Amen,
Carla has been really struggling sleeping, and it's just when you don't sleep for 2 or 3 days, I mean consistently, that gets under your skin, and so we need to be praying for her. And so she asked for the night off, and I said, well, we'll put that on Friesen's plate, see what he can do.
Well, because last night she was with me recording all night, and so no wonder she needs tonight off because she had to deal with me last night.
So, okay, why, that's a great thing. Why don't you tell everybody, because we don't have a lot of people on right now. Well, in fact, there's only like 8 people. Why don't you tell everybody?
Hey, you 8 people, would you get busy, start sharing this
right.
We can get to 16 maybe? Or
Here, while you're telling people what's going on while you're recording, I'm going to send the messages out to people.
Yeah, let's do that. So what we're doing is... Look, COVID has given us time to kind of dream and just try some new things. And so what we decided to do, anybody that goes out on YouTube and follows any sort of Christian contemporary music at all, you watch those videos and you see they're either in a studio, they're on a stage, they're out in the forest, they're in the desert, they're in some field of wheat. They're doing all these cool videos with their music, the inspiring Christian music that we are honored to play. So we thought it would be fun, and this was PT's idea, that he saw another church put something together that kind of like we're trying to do. And so we thought it would be fun to create 2 or 3 YouTube videos of songs that we do. So I threw out a bunch of songs to the worship team, and I said, guys, pick 2 or 3 of these that you really would feel would be really beneficial, that you would enjoy doing. And so we got those results back from the team last week. And so starting this week, we go in different nights into, Tim Wong has a terrific little studio in his home. And they use literally all the rooms. Last night I had headphones on with a microphone like this, singing, you ready? In the bathroom, okay? So we use any and all rooms there at the Wong residence. And so Monday night, bass, drums, and both keyboards were in there. So Carla was there Monday night recording keys with Brett and Pastor Greg. And then Tuesday night we took off, and then last night was vocals. So we had all of our singers in there, including Carla again. So she was there 2 of the last 3 nights, so no wonder she's whipped right now.
Yeah, she's worn out.
And so we recorded a bunch of the vocals last night. Didn't quite finish. You always find out when you do studio recording, the vocals tend to be they take a little bit more time. especially when the guy that's running the whole thing is a choir director.
Yeah, I'm sure that
just a little more
plays a role.
focused on the vocals. And then tonight, as we speak, the guitars are in the studio. Our 3 guitarists are in the studio, Andrew and DJ and Tim, laying down guitar tracks. And then between now and next Wednesday, Tim's going to, as the engineer of this thing, he's going to be editing it down and tweaking it. And then we're going to go in next Wednesday, finish the vocals. And then one of these Saturdays coming up, we're going to all get together at an undisclosed location.
Right, we're going to keep that one secret too.
And we are going to shoot video for these songs. And then instead of having that countdown, guys, you know, that Sunday morning, that 5-minute countdown that you have before the service starts, we hope to use these videos during that countdown time instead of just watching the seconds tick away. We're gonna use that time to provide music in a video format and announcements, and you have some ideas regarding that as well.
Yeah, what he's talking about there is I saw it's another church, one of the ministers that I kind of watch, you know. What they're doing now, this is a much bigger church. I don't know what their numbers are, but I'm going to guess they run 5,000 people or so. This is a big church. And their worship team kind of handles the whole, they have like a 10-minute countdown, but it doesn't feel like a 10-minute countdown because you're constantly engaged.
Right.
And so they'll have like, I think it starts with a guy who is basically the pastor of their media, right? He comes out and he introduces himself and says, hey, before we get started, I just want to let you know this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And then it goes to this video that looks like something you'd see, you know, on MTV or something like that.
Professional.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah.
And it was their worship team just playing a song. And then after that first song, you know, actually the same pastor guy came up and he said, hey, you know, we want to let you know what's going on with this ministry. And so then that minister came in, for example, let's say we want to let you know with children's ministries. And then like David Jones would come in and say, and it would all be pre-recorded, this is what's happening, we're going to be looking for this week. And then another song, and the whole while up in the corner, you'd see this countdown going down.
Got it.
And so then as soon as the countdown was over, they went into worship. Now you might be thinking, well, that's a lot of praise and worship. It really didn't feel that way. I mean, it just didn't feel that way. And so that's kind of one of the things we're shooting towards as we endeavor to the live stream element of what church is right now.
Right.
You know, and so that's what that's going to look like. Let's take a minute and say hi to a few people. We don't have a lot of people in tonight, and that's all right. We will forgive those people who are not here. Well, I'd like to, but my mouse will not work, Marcus. So I'm going to let you go up to the top, and we'll start up there. Mr. Free, Jim Free is in the house, and Mrs. Free is probably watching with him. Good to see you.
2 Jims in a row.
Yes,
Right.
that's right. Then James
Jarvis,
That's
yes.
right. Missy Marshall is here. We saw Missy the other night. She came in with Linda Fender on, what is today? Today's Thursday?
Yeah.
So I guess they came in Tuesday. They came in and the last time we were doing the live stream with Greg, they were here doing the count, her and Linda Fender. And so you got to thank Missy Marshall for putting that time in. It's Shelley Watt.
Yay,
Shelley, how do you like The Room? I mean, when you see it on screen, I'd like to know what you think about that.
And you know what? I can now breathe in here. The
paint fumes?
The paint fumes are slowly dissipating away, and I can actually breathe without feeling like I'll pass out. So,
if anybody can get a hold of Josh Nichols, what we don't have is the sign behind
Yes.
Tim. Go to Tim here. It lights up, but we can't get it to work. It worked Tuesday night, but it's not working now.
the gerbils are not pedaling fast enough
exactly
behind.
right. That's exactly right. Pastor Daniel is watching on his lunch break. The Soup Nazi, Roger Sadbury, says, hello, PT. I wonder if Mrs. Soup Nazi is with him. I'm sorry, Tim. But if we're going to do this, we have to do it right.
Yes. Okay.
It's Charlotte Pence Garrick-Agoidia.
Now that is classic.
You know what's weird is to watch myself on screen
While you do it,
while I say that. Hi, everyone.
it would be even worse if you had a delay there. That
It's
would make
me,
it hard.
Charlotte Pence Garrick-Agoidia.
Yeah, and I do not have the voices that Carla has. I'm sorry. We're just not going to go there.
Okay, so I won't ask you to make. Well, you could just.
Although I have a lot of singing Christmas tree voices I could pull out of my hat. But,
you could also put in your. You just emphasize your
the Grim Reaper. Yes.
and your Canadian accent.
Yes, I could do that.
You could throw a lot of
Yeah.
A's and a boat, things like that. Charlotte says she's having problems with her iPad. It won't finish the countdown. So frustrating. Hopefully, what? Somebody get a hold of Charlotte. Tell her she probably just needs to come out. Exit it. Yeah, exactly. Pastor Daniel did that. Exit the Monaz page and come back in. Very good. Debbie Stedman is saying hello.
Hello, Debbie.
Shannon Wise is here instead of at women's. Well, don't tell on yourself. I mean, don't do that. I mean, Gabby, I'm just curious, Gabby, what do you think of Shannon telling on herself like that? Right? Exactly. Well, we won't tell on you, but somehow you've given yourself away there, Shannon, so it's good. You know, we're going to have to do something with the camera because I got to watch the screen this way, so you're only seeing the side of my head instead of me going like this. Yes. But all right, okay, so Shannon, well, we're glad you're here. She tried it and it didn't work. I'm not the sharpest tool in the show. Well, at least you got it working because she's on. Charlotte got it working apparently. And so good. Keep going. Scroll down. Chris Wallace, you broke the sign already, right? Yeah, we didn't break it, but for some reason it's not working. And we have very detailed instructions that are written on the bag that
with a Sharpie, I see that.
The remote came in.
Professional.
And yet we still can't get it to work. And so something tells me it's an ID10T error.
That's why Shannon isn't here now. She's sick. That's why she's not at the study.
Okay. So then Gabby and I withdraw our laugh. We won't laugh. Okay, David Jones is in the house, and he says, good evening. It's just a love fest right now with 16 people. Hey, guys, go ahead and take and share this. Let's get a few more people on while we can. So go ahead and share this video. We do have a devotion coming up. We're going to talk about worship ministries with Tim, who is our worship leader, things like that. Talk about whatever we want to talk about. And if you have questions for any of us or for Tim specifically about worship, go ahead and send those in. Marcus, how you doing today? Let's see what you're looking like. Let's let everybody in with you.
There he is. That beard.
I'm doing pretty good.
The beard is getting forever longer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, put yourself back on there. Tim and I are boring people.
That's yeah.
I'm not that much exciting.
I disagree. No, get back. No. Get back up there.
I have the power.
That's right. You are in control. Shelly is saying it is the connection in the battery. So do we have to charge? We have a charge here. I don't know. Marcus, what does this do? So are we going to figure this out?
That looks like a battery charger because I know it's a battery charger.
It doesn't go to this. I bet it goes to
it might go to the actual light back here.
So
yeah.
Because I know that's a portable battery pack for like recharging like your phone or something. So I bet you we have to recharge that thing in order to get the lights to work again.
We will get on that for next time.
That could be. We'll have to make sure that works. Ashley Nye. So Ashley Nye, we talked about her the other night with Greg. New to the worship team. She is the newest addition.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about that. Let's just make her all kinds of embarrassed and uncomfortable.
Sure. Well, actually, first of all, church, if you guys that are listening, we're a church of 250 people. I don't know if our folks that are in our church body understand how blessed we are with both the level of musicianship that we have in this church and just the numbers of musicians that we have. Right. It is an incredible experience to be able to lead this group because of the humility. If you've ever been around musicians at all, you know that there's always tends to be this strain of ego that can come in. It's even in churches, it can get, where's my solo? When do I get to do this? I wanted to sing this time. And there just none of that exists in this group. And I am so blessed to be able to work with them. It is a pleasure to rehearse with them. And we're finding that during this time, I was just mentioning this to some of the team members the other day, when we've been separated during this time, we've had nobody in that sanctuary when we're playing on Sunday morning.
Right.
And it is amazing to see how now when we rehearse, even before a service, on Wednesday night, Sunday when we get there before the service starts, how it's no longer a rehearsal.
Right.
It's turned into a worship time.
Right.
It's just amazing how we are learning as a worship team to worship God for an audience of one instead of whoever's out there in the sanctuary.
You know what's cool? You have two worship guys right here. I mean, for Tim's been in worship ministries his whole life, and so was I, and so I want to echo exactly what you said. I've said it a million times. I said it when Greg was in here. I've served in bigger churches than this and smaller churches than this. I've never had the level and quality of musicianship that we have here,
coupled with the humility that goes with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Usually, and it's sad to say, but usually when you get good musicians. Good musicians know they're good. You know, you don't have to tell them they're good. They know.
Yeah.
And they come in with a preconceived notion of what it should be like. We've never had that. When I was the leader, I mean, everybody always, you know, here's a great thing, and I'm not going to go into this. I've done it a million times. Tim was on the worship team. Now, Tim had more experience leading a worship than I did, and I came in as the worship leader. Tim would submit himself to my leadership, and it was just so cool the way that happened.
Yeah.
And, you know,
God had his hands so much in that whole
He did.
scenario.
It's an amazing thing. You know, I've said it before, through no fault of Tim's. It was just a change in leadership. I basically came and took his job. And God used Tim in that to really get a lot of glory. We've established, I mean, just the best friendship.
Yep.
And it is directly because of Tim's influence, going to people in the congregation and saying, you know, we need to give the new guy a shot. We need to really get to know him, that kind of thing. And so it was a very cool thing. And it really bonded the friendship. And then when Tim, you know, for however many years was on that worship team, and it certainly made it better. And so it was an easy decision when I became the lead pastor to say, hey, I know a guy who can step right in and not miss a beat. And he's taken it, you know, further than I ever took it. And we're seeing, but you have, I mean, we have more musicians now. We have so many people who play guitar.
It continues to evolve, and that's God's hand in it.
We still have so many people who can lead worship.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about Tim Wong all the time.
Yeah.
You know, here's an 18-year-old kid who could easily, and we talked about, we have, I think, 4 members of our worship team are over 50 years old.
And everybody else, you know.
And it's an amazing thing. Carla can lead, you can lead, I can step in and lead. Aaron Fanning can come down and lead.
Yeah.
Andrew could potentially lead. In fact, I'm sure he could.
Yes.
And it's just an amazing thing. Yeah. So
What's so cool about it, too, is this huge gap in age. I mean, I'm the oldest guy up there.
Right.
And I'm 57.
See, I wasn't going to say that
I'm
that.
50. I'm 57, yes. Okay, and Tim's 18.
Right.
And so there's this massive gap, and yet talk about a family that really works cohesively together. Really, really blessed. And we said all that to get back to Ashley, our newest member.
Right. We never embarrassed Ashley. That's right.
Oh, we're getting there. No,
we're
but you know, and this stream introduced me to Ashley.
Right.
You know, because Ashley had started to, you know, she really got serious about her relationship with the Lord last year, and so she started to be able to show some of her gifts and talents that God has loaned to her through Facebook and just singing. And she has this powerful. But last night in the studio, she did some stuff that I hadn't heard her do before, and I said, "Yeah, let's record that right there."
Right.
And yet she comes in really eager to learn. She's always been singing solo melody. She wants to learn now how to do harmonies.
Right.
And that takes, boy, you just don't flip a switch and go go from melody to harmony. You don't. And so she's eager to learn and grow and work. And so it's really nice to have her on board. And everybody seems to understand where their abilities lie. I mean, Gretchen, tremendous harmony. She hears harmonies really well. Chris hears harmonies really well.
Right.
And then all of our guitarists, you take the lead this time. Okay, now you take it the next time, and they all can do it. And
we have 2 other people who play guitar.
Yeah.
Who aren't even on the worship team.
Yeah.
I mean, they are, like Aaron Boss.
Who
plays with our Spanish ministries.
Absolutely.
And also Ashley Faye Fleming.
Right.
Also can play guitar.
Yeah.
And then we have a guy in the production booth who can fill in on the drums. Isn't that right, Monsignor Story?
Right. Marcus, he can as well. Yeah. We've got 3 different drummers.
He just puts his picture up there.
Well, and somebody like Andrew, I need you on guitar. Okay, I need you on bass.
Right.
No, I need you on drums. No problem.
I need you on rhythm guitar. I need you to play lead guitar. Yeah.
And God has gifted him with the ability to play all those things, but also with the attitude to be flexible. Where do you need me? That's where I'll be.
Right.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it's so, I mean, Worship Ministries is good and strong here, and I'm grateful for that. Tim does a great job. The team does a great job. But again, I want to emphasize what I think the point that you were trying to make more than the talent is the idea that, you know, you and I have been in ministries before. We've talked about this where we did have egos, and you did have to battle those egos. It hasn't happened here.
Yeah.
It really hasn't happened.
We continue to pray and stay humble and understand that this isn't us. This is God working through us.
Right. Well, let's take a minute to say hi to a few more people. I see that
Chris Wallace, the voice of God, is here.
Remember, I made the joke that when Chris first got into radio, his voice he sounded like this. This is what he sounded like. But all of his years on radio, he began to talk like this.
I've been playing this Star Wars game. You and I, we are both gamers.
Yes,
and
I'm not ashamed to admit
and
that.
one of them is it's got this game with Darth Vader's voice, and every time I hear that, I'm thinking, oh man, Chris Wallace needed to be cast for that.
Oh. Yeah, absolutely. Scott Kaiser is
Scott.
in the house. Scroll up. Sadie Ingram is with us, all the way from Texas, I believe, is where they are. I heard a rumor, just a rumor, and maybe I shouldn't say it because I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
I don't know. I wouldn't know what the rumor is because I don't listen to
But
rumors.
it's just a rumor. So if it's just a rumor, I can just say it's a rumor. Is that okay to do that? I heard, and I just heard that Sadie and Trevor might be thinking of praying about coming to Oregon. I just heard that. I don't know if that's true. If she's on, she can
put the kibosh on that if that's not true.
That's right. Virginia Snyder is in. We say, hello, Miss Virginia. Chris Wallace is saying, or Shelley is saying to Chris Wallace, she finally got Caitlin's graduation gift. She'll be sending that off soon. Outstanding. Miss Brigetta is on. And man, I'm so blind. It's just so bad. I don't know. So Sadie, can you enlighten us? Is there any truth to that rumor, or should we put the kibosh on that right now? I see a lot of people talking to Sadie. I don't see Sadie saying anything. Jane Wolfe is in the house. Zane is apologizing because she just got off from work.
Hello, Zane.
There's no reason to apologize. I mean, it is what it is. Scott Kaiser is saying that he was raised Southern and he doesn't want to get slapped. Okay. There's got to be more above
that.
That
was his response to Scott Kaiser for saying, Scott Kaiser told James Jarvis, "Good evening, sir." And
then that.
And
pursued.
so then, James Jarvis said, "I'm not a sir. I worked for a living. Was in the Army." And now Scott Kaiser saying,
I got it.
There's one more reply, I believe, to that. Here it is. From James Jarvis. Manners are everything.
Yes. I saw that Carla with a K is on the house. Give us an update on your hand. How are things going there? Chris Wallace says Ashley Faye plays guitar. She plays well. She sings very well too. Her schedule makes it tough for her to be on the worship team though. But yeah, she's
one of those things that it's just tough for her right now with the schedule. But love to have her.
If this Chris Wallace says, if this is a counselorship, where's the ambassador? That sounds like, that's a Star Wars line.
If this is a counselorship, where's the ambassador?
That's one of Darth Vader's most famous lines from movie number 1.
Right.
Well, technically movie number 4.
Did you say Star Trek?
I said Star Trek, but I corrected.
Boy, you're going to have many people out there. They're going to have your head on a platter for that.
May the Force be with you.
Don't even go there right now.
All the way to Mordor.
Yeah.
Yes, that's my favorite. Lord of the Flies. Right? They just keep going on and on and on. Marcus is losing his mind in there. Well, it is 7:25. I do have a devotion planned for us, and then we'll talk with Tim about maybe just a little more about the future of what worship ministries might look like. We'll just put him on the spot, or we'll just talk to whatever comes up. But when I was praying about what to do the sermon on this week, I could not get away from this parable. And so in addition to giving you this from the standpoint of sermon on Sunday, you're going to get a brief devotion on it now, but I'm going to focus on a different part. The parable of the lost sheep starts in Luke chapter 15. You can also see, I think Matthew chapter 18 is where you get this story as well, but we're going to be in Luke 15. Says, now the tax collectors and sinners were all gathering around to hear Jesus. I want you to catch that. Just in that first line. Who is it that's surrounding him? All the bad people.
All the bad people.
All the bad guys. Not the church people, but the tax collectors and the sinners are gathering around to hear Jesus. Now, his disciples were with him, and there should have been probably a following that was there as well. But but Luke is pointing out that it's the people who needed to be around him were around him. But the Pharisees and the teachers of the law muttered. So the church people get wind of this, and they got a problem, right? This man, is a quote, this man welcomes sinners and eats with them, end quote. And I just sense the disdain. Oh, this man eats with the sinners. He hangs out with them. No offense, Charlotte. That's just the Jewish voice I'm doing. Sorry. But, there is that, it's the church people that have a problem with Jesus hanging out with sinners. Verse 3, then Jesus told them this parable. Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Doesn't he leave the 99 in the open country and go after the lost sheep until he finds it? Guys, as we get into this devotion, I do want to encourage you to go ahead and share this video now, please, if you haven't already. So picking up again in verse 4, suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Doesn't he leave the 99 in the open country and go after the lost sheep until he finds it? And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders and he goes home. And then he calls his friends and neighbors together and he says, rejoice with me, I have found my lost sheep. I tell you that in the same way there will be more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous persons who do not need to repent. So we're going to talk primarily about that first verse, not really the parable, but the concept of what's going into the parable. Art Sell is in the house. Art, hello, my friend. Miss Janet, hello as well. The reason I want to talk about that is because I think it perfectly and accurately fits our world today. Not so much with the idea of the church being displaced or the church not meeting. The church is not displaced. The church is still the church. That hasn't changed. But it's the mindset that people have that's the mindset that church people have when Jesus is hanging around with sinners and tax collectors. And as I was praying about presenting this on Sunday, and you'll hear it in the sermon, there's a lot in the sermon that talks about what are we doing with what has been given to us.
Yeah.
We look at the world today, and there are certain elements that seem insurmountable. There are certain elements that seem out of our control. If you just look at the political realm of things, we have people who can justify why the COVID-19 pandemic is political, and they have a very good reason for that. They don't just pull that out of a hat. They have facts that support it and things like that. We have such a hatred and disdain for our president by people who've never met him, who've never spoken to him, who don't know him. And we have such a hatred and a disdain of people who hate our president. There's so much division just in the political realm of things that it seems insurmountable.
And it seems like there's an ignorant hatred towards labels.
Oh, for sure.
You see a label, oh, I hate them, or I hate that.
Yeah, the
knowing.
identity politics.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a Republican, we're not going to be friends.
Right.
Oh, you're a Democrat, you're an idiot, we're not going to be able to talk. And what we see is the breakdown of the fabric that makes our culture phenomenal. Mm-hmm. It's the very thing that makes this country the greatest thing that is out there. It's why people want to come into this country, but that we can sit down and have a conversation and have a debate. But tying that into our devotion, so let's take the politics out of it. Let's take the cultural disdain right now. The Black Lives Matter versus all lives matter, which first of all, that shouldn't be the case. That's not an adverse concept from one side. To the other side it is, but to one side it's not. And so I was thinking about this, and again, I'm a white guy, and we're not going to talk a lot about, but everywhere I've been for the past 20 years, I mean, you're talking about a guy who led worship, a white guy who led worship at a black church.
Yeah.
Chris Wallace is arguably my best friend. He's a black guy. Rodney, I mean, I have a number of black brothers and sisters, gentlemen that I absolutely love, who love me, who would give their lives for me, who I'd give my, so this is not racially motivated at all. But what I'm getting at is when I go out and interact with people, and when I see it like Universal Studios every year, you see people everywhere interacting, going on a ride together, having fun together. I just don't believe that the racial divide is what the media is telling us that it is. I just don't buy that because I don't see it. Now, again, tying that into this, yet, because it has become so divisive, there's an element that almost suggests that if you're white, you can't even have an opinion on it because you're white. Mm-hmm. And if you're black, you can't speak to the opposing side without being condemned.
Yeah.
So what's happened is now there's been this huge division that's created amongst all people for whatever reason. And it's a shame that we can't sit down with people who disagree with us, people who don't see things the way that we do, and have a healthy conversation. We can still disagree. We don't have to align politically. We don't have to align with our ideals. We can still disagree with each other and still have fellowship.
You know, and it goes back to the great commandment: love the Lord your God, and then love your neighbors yourself. And because we aren't doing that second commandment,
Right. But
our
you
country is
see,
struggling.
but you see that right in the first few verses, right?
Yeah.
Even before the parable.
Judgment right away on Jesus.
It is the Sanhedrin and the Pharisees who look at Jesus talking with people that likely don't agree with them, right? The tax collectors, the sinners, and they start muttering.
Yeah.
It's identity politics right in the beginning. Yeah. They're not Jewish. You're talking to the Gentiles. You're talking to the heathens. You're talking to the people who don't know our culture. You're talking to the people. Why are you doing that? And Jesus is probably thinking, you got to be kidding me, right?
Yeah.
And I just thought that, and we're going to talk a lot about that on Sunday, but I wanted to bring that into the devotion. I wanted to encourage the people listening to this. I get there's not a lot of people on right now, but by the end of tomorrow, we'll have hundreds of people will have seen this. I want to encourage everybody. Find somebody who doesn't agree with you and have a healthy conversation with them. And listen to them. Don't go into the conversation trying to change their mind.
Yeah.
Don't try to change their opinion. Don't do anything just listen. Just listen to what they have to say.
And then love them through the whole thing.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Because you probably aren't going to change their mind anyway, any more than they're likely to change your mind. You know?
But God doesn't call us to change their mind.
Right.
God calls us to love them regardless.
And to be Jesus to them.
Exactly. Be salt and light.
And so, I mean, imagine if Jesus never sat with the tax collectors, never engaged with the sinners, we wouldn't have disciples.
Right.
You know, there wouldn't be the first church. We wouldn't have any of these things. And so was Jesus probably liking this idea? No, he probably would have been, well, let's just go into the synagogue and I can read all about me. You know, I can, there could have been that. That probably would have been the mindset. But no, he came with a purpose, and he wasn't coming to, when Jesus was asked about politics, what does he say? Give to Caesar what's Caesar's. I'm not worried about that at all. Now, in Jesus's culture, we didn't have elected officials. We didn't have bipartisan issues and things like that. So I get that element of debate. I get that. But vote your conscience. I guess that's really what I'm saying. But to tie that into that devotion, guys, we have to give people Jesus, and they're not going to receive it from us if we don't first listen to them. Most of my job, I had a meeting today with somebody who's struggling. And 90% of it was me just listening to what this person had to say. And what I found is that, I have a sister who is overtly liberal. I mean, she's as far away from me politically and but politically as could possibly be. And we actually often have really good conversations. And what we find is we're not nearly as far apart as we think. There have been times when that relationship has been strained because of that. And I'm like, that's stupid. Yeah. That should not be. Yeah. That's why when I hear, and I've been purposely avoiding Facebook like the plague, and I don't see me getting back on it anytime soon other than for ministry related things, or maybe if I see something, I might share it, something like that. But having been off Facebook, I kind of lost my train of thought. It's stupid, and it's my fault that I would allow some political opinion to alter the way I think about somebody. Is really, that's not Christian. That's just not. And so whether it's my sister or not, the idea is interact with people. You might actually learn something. You might find that you're not as far away, as far separated as you think. And guys, I'm one of those, I'm cynical. I am conservative. When people trash Trump, I get very upset about it, not because I like Trump or I know Trump, but because you don't know him, and you shouldn't be calling him a racist. You shouldn't be calling him stupid. You shouldn't be calling him an idiot. You shouldn't be calling him evil because you don't know this man. You've never spoken to him. And the same people that said the same things about Barack Obama, you didn't know him. Right. You've never spent time in a room with him. If you and I never, ever spoke to each other, we wouldn't know anything about each other than we're both musicians who have led worship teams. That's all we'd know. And so we need to be mindful of those things. That's your devotion for the day. maybe you're thinking, well, that wasn't much of a devotion, but I would argue that that was a deep devotion that encourages you as believers to, entertain somebody who thinks differently than you, and sit down and eat with the tax collector, sit down and eat with the sinner, and be Jesus to him. So,
and can I add that when you do that, remember that Jesus put as much love and care into creating them as he did you. They are as much God's child as you, and he wants them in the fold as well.
I'm not going to divulge it now. You'll be here on Sunday.
Yeah.
But there's a moment in the sermon where I make that point abundantly clear without saying it, and so look for it.
Okay.
It's like we always here. I'll say it like this. This will be a teaser. We always have it's almost like in our minds we think that Jesus is an American. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We think that. And we sit here, catch this, just blow your mind right now. We think that Jesus is a Christian. He's not. He is the Son of God. He is God incarnate. Jesus loves all of the people. Jesus loves the Muslims. Jesus loves the Buddhists. He loves the Hindus, and he loves all of these people, and it is his heart that they would all come into Christianity. But to say that Jesus is a Christian,
right?
No, he's the father of all, right? And so it's a shocking scenario that when we think about, Jesus is A, not a Christian, B, not an American, that it's just a mind-blowing thing.
Yeah.
We don't, like you said, Jesus died for all these people.
Put him in a box.
We have it's like I actually liked the Passion of the Christ. I thought it did a very good, considering nobody knows exactly what he looked like. It did. I mean, if he was going to look Jewish or like a Jewish person of the time,
yeah,
they probably did a pretty good job of that.
Yeah.
And so what we can probably assume is he doesn't look like, the
like the picture on the wall that you grew up with, right?
The praying hands. He probably doesn't look like that. He probably didn't look like that. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make is that the mindset is that we automatically think that, well, Jesus is just, he's backing me. I'm always right because I align with Jesus. And man, can I tell you how many times I've been wrong?
Yeah.
I can tell you how many times I've gone about presenting something with somebody that was just a great idea that Todd had, not a great idea that God had.
Right.
And you've done it, and we've all done it.
Yeah.
And it's just an interesting concept. Wow, Scott Kaiser, mind blown. So I don't know what it is. Thursday night, we have low numbers tonight. I don't know what that is. I'm not concerned about it. Like I said, I know a lot of people.
They heard Carla wasn't going to be here.
That's what it is. Yeah. Either that or they heard you were.
Yeah.
One of the two. Marcus, do you have a theory?
They're probably prepping the fireworks considering there's going to be
right.
no big firework display around. They're probably going out buying and prepping for their own small one.
Is there a reason you didn't put yourself on camera when you said that?
Because I only have two hands.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll let it go.
Reminds me I'm going to have to get sedatives for my dog for July 4th. Just
Does he? My dog freaks
my
out
dogs
too.
just go nuts.
Both of them?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've got to keep my cats inside or
I'm
else
sorry,
they
I can't see you, Marcus. What? I'm sorry, what?
Oops. Wrong button, sorry. I've got to keep my cats inside, otherwise they run off for a few days.
Well, PT wouldn't care if that happened.
Now that I know that, if I knew cats would run away, I would just keep fireworks on hand year round. Just shoot firecrackers off every day.
My cat really despises you now.
Hey, your cat's the one who messed up your mom's shoulder. I didn't have anything to do with that.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
That's a low blow.
Yeah, it was. I acknowledge it was a low blow. It was. So okay, so Tim, let's do this. Let's talk to us a bit, and this is not prepped. We didn't come in with a script. I didn't say, hey Tim, this is what I want to talk about. I didn't do any of that.
All right.
What can we look forward to in the future with worship? Or what are some things you'd like to see happen, or things that you're happy about, other than that there's no egos? What would you like to see done?
Well, I'm looking forward to being together when we get a chance to actually worship together as a body.
Right.
I would say this. I was having a conversation with somebody the other night, and it was a great point that I think I've mentioned from up front before, but I want to kind of drill it home again tonight. It's so easy when you're at home and you're watching Sunday morning service to sit in your easy chair and watch a concert instead of participating in worship. And I really want to encourage folks to ask God to remind you how to worship from home. Because we're just worshiping in a different way. We're not there. The band is not there to provide a concert for 25 minutes before you preach. We're there to lead people to the throne of God. And so I want to encourage people to be active. I want to encourage people to stand up when we sing. I want to encourage people to clap their hands. I want to encourage people to sing. Yeah, let your neighbors hear it, because that's active worship.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, and that's what God calls us to be as His kids. And so that's the first thing. I'm just looking forward to being together and actively worshiping as a body again. Right. It's going to be great.
You know, look, before you go on, the first week you guys were back. Remember, because it was 10 people initially. Yeah. So we couldn't have the worship team. It was just the stories and myself for a couple of months. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And when we opened up and officially went into phase 1, which allowed us 25 people, so the worship team came back. That first week, I was like, what is this going to be like? What is that going to be like? Versus, like Marcus can attest, like when we were just playing the pre-recorded videos, it wasn't the same. You know, I'd be sitting there in the pew watching it on the screen, but if I was distracted, I'd go out and do something, things that I would never do during a worship service, right? And so then when you guys came back, and I don't remember the set list that you played, but I remember, wow. In fact, I think if you go back, and it's still probably on Facebook, if you go back and watch it, I think that's the one when I turned my back to the camera and I just addressed the worship team. I was like,
yeah, I remember that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
The presence of the Spirit was so absolutely undeniably here that day. Not that He's not here every day, but it was so undeniable. It was so obvious. I remember weeping during the worship set, and there was nobody else there.
Yeah.
And it was such an amazing thing. And I've noticed now that, you know, like when Steve and Shelley Watt are here, because Steve handles the security, so yeah. Shelley's a worshiper, right?
Right.
She doesn't care if anybody's in the room. She's got her hands up in the air, and I will put my hands up in the air as I feel led, but I don't do the whole thing. She does that. I mean, she's just going.
That's how she worships.
That's how she worships.
Yeah.
But that element is contagious, and I would agree with what you said when you're at home. Stand up.
Yeah.
Turn it up loud.
Yeah.
Sing your guts out. Worship your guts out. You are the church. It doesn't matter if you're in the sanctuary. Sanctuary is absolutely nothing more than wood and lumber and nails and drywall and paint. That's all that it is.
Right.
But that the power of the Spirit permeates your home room, your living room. You know,
yeah.
Pray with us when you're given that 2 minutes to go get a cup of coffee, or to go do what you got to do. Go do what you got to do. Go to the restroom. Go do what you have to do. That's why we give you the 2 minutes, so that you can come back in and actually engage in worship.
And be ready.
Right.
Not just I'm going to sit down and listen, but be ready to see where God's going to take you during that next 90 minutes. It's God has a plan every Sunday morning, and we kind of usurp that when we sit back and twiddle our thumbs and not make ourselves available and open to Him. So,
Jimmy Free says that their cats didn't like my comment. I'm sure not. All right, so continue.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how these first 3 videos that we're making turn out. One thing that was really a neat opportunity about having to record the services instead of being live every week is we had 3 nights of worship, and Tim Wong and Marcus Story and Brian and Sandy were here all those nights doing the video and the sound and all that stuff and editing that stuff down. And we were able to put together about a 25-song set that was recorded, maybe not quite as tight as if we went into the studio and did it.
Right.
But way better than just recording it live.
It was better than the Facebook stuff I pulled off of Facebook.
It was, admittedly. Sure. But it's kind of cool. We were able to create this little library, and we want to make that available to our church body.
Right.
We want to burn copies of those CDs so that if you want to listen to No Longer Slaves, you can listen to us doing it.
Right.
If you want to. instead of the artists that normally do it, just because it's what you're familiar to worshiping with on Sunday morning.
Right.
And I've had a number of people come to me and say, boy, the next time you do this song, that song, I'd love to get a copy of it because I want to hear my worship team doing that song. So we've been able to create this library of about 20, 25 songs that we're going to make available to people once they come back, just to give you a copy.
Cool.
They won't be
Very
sold. Cool. We'll just give people copies so that they can have us at home if they want to worship during the week or in their car or whatever, if they want to worship with the Monash band.
Right.
But I said that because, we want to see how these 3 videos go. And if they go well, if it's a good experience and we feel like it's beneficial, I'm looking forward to doing more of those.
Right.
As time allows us. We find out whenever you go into the studio, it's much more time consuming than you think.
Oh, yeah.
And so, we're not going to be able to just knock these things out 3 at a time every 3 weeks, but we're excited to see where God potentially leads this finger of our ministry as well. The other thing that, it used to be, when I used to lead worship here before you came, so back from 2000 to 2012, 13, whatever, in that span, it was a challenge to get musicians. And we are blessed with more. But folks, that doesn't mean that we can't be blessed with more.
Right.
And so if you are a musician and you enjoy worshiping when we play, be a part of that. Come and talk to us about how you might be able to be plugged in, whether or not you sing, or whether or not you play an instrument. I told our band when I first started to lead worship again, when you took over the head pastor position here, that our role as worship band members is to work ourselves out of a job. Our role is to find other people that we can disciple musically underneath us, so that they can be plugged in to ministry. Because who knows where God wants to take our church? Who knows when we're going to go to 2 services, or go to 3 services, or multiple nights?
I can tell you when we're going to go to 2.
Yeah.
the day we get back together and we go into phase 2, which it's going to segue very nicely from what you were just talking about.
Yeah.
The board and the staff met. You were there, obviously.
Yep.
And the plan is that once phase 2 goes into play, assuming it will still be that 250 person,
right?
Based on the size, we're going to go to 2 services. One will be probably in that 8 o'clock area. The other be in that 10:30 to 11 o'clock window. And that's going to be. I want you to think about that. For me, that's nothing. I can preach the same thing twice. That's not a huge thing. But you're talking now a worship team. You're talking about a commitment from 8 to 9 people, depending, who are now doing this twice. And if you're not a musician, you're not a singer. It is no easy thing to sing 10 songs in a span of a couple hours. I mean, it doesn't kill you, but it's not an easy thing. And so the idea of having more people makes his job a lot easier from the standpoint of I can rotate musicians.
Yeah.
Like somebody like Carla, I can tell you right now, she will struggle simply because of Bell's palsy, simply because of fatigue, all of those things.
Yeah.
And so to have more people available is a good thing. So, with the Ashley Nyes stepping up and saying, hey, I can sing. I think about Andrew's wife, Sedona, who, from what I understand, might be having a schedule freeing up.
Yeah, I think she hopes to be able to do something different starting, I think, in August or something like that.
Right. And she's one of those people who can step right in.
Yeah.
But we also now have Chris Boss, who we find can play actually some keyboards, could manage. Yeah. Aaron Boss, who can play some guitar.
Absolutely.
Spanish Ministries has a guy right now, he's out there practicing, who's new to Spanish Ministries, who plays the keyboard.
Yeah.
And so, I echo what he said. I don't know, we just met Scott Kaiser, right? We met him through the live stream.
Yeah.
Yet he feels like he's been a part of the church forever.
Yeah.
Maybe he, plays trumpet or trombone or something. We'll just get him involved, right? Because Marcus gets all excited.
And I want to say this too, for all of those people that you see up on the platform leading ministry, guess who's behind the scenes? We have to be able to run everything behind the scenes to make the stuff that's on the platform work. That means we need to be able to train people that can run sound, that can run video. Exactly. You saw that hilarious 2-minute announcement by Marcus last week from the service. If you haven't seen it, guys, go back to the Facebook service, go back to YouTube from last Sunday, watch it. It is ridiculous. We watched it before we went live on Sunday, and we were rolling. We were laughing hard.
It was great.
It was excellent, but it made a point. Okay, many hands make light work, and God calls us to ministry. God doesn't call us to the pew. He calls us to ministry. If you don't know how to run a video camera, guess what? There's somebody that can show you how.
And will.
Yeah. If you don't know how to do PowerPoint or whatever it is that goes on up there, there's somebody that's going to show you how to do that. Okay? Learn a new ministry, stretch your wings a little bit, and be part of God's building of his kingdom. Because we can't, it doesn't matter if we have 100 musicians. If we don't have the right people behind the scenes, we're stuck.
It's exactly right. That video was hysterical, by the way. Yeah, and I think most people have seen it. I don't have it in a file that you could just bring in, so you couldn't put it on there. But it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook.
Yep. I've been sharing it every day because I want people to see that.
That video was literally conceptualized, filmed, and edited all in the span of 4 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I got to tell you, we make these pleas all the time about different ministries, children's ministry or young adults or whatever. And I got to tell you, God, he's got to be shoving his hands in his pockets sometimes, shaking his head going, people, I'm calling you to go. And this is part of going. And we need to heed that. We need to do that.
Right. A couple of comments here that are pretty good. Scott Kaiser says both of you guys thought outside the box during the lockdown. Very admirable. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. It wasn't, we talked amongst ourselves. What is this going to look like?
Yeah.
It wasn't just I had a great idea or Tim had a great idea. There were a number of people who came together and helped us formulate these decisions. Like, for example, a few weeks ago, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, when it looked like we were going into phase 2, I literally had the entire board and the staff in the sanctuary, and we talked through every decision to come up with what we thought was the best plan possible moving forward when we open. But thank you for that. I appreciate that. We're sitting in the studio that is in place because of the pandemic.
Absolutely.
Because we were thinking, okay, if this is the new way to do stuff, let's put our best foot forward, right?
Yeah. And thank the Lord for a board that's progressive in their thinking.
You bet.
And that will listen to the leadership that says, we really think this would be a great idea, and they follow God's leading, and boom, here we are.
And let me say another thing about our board. They're not just progressive in their thinking. These are very wise people who don't just frivolously make decisions. None of them do. And, there's a temptation. I look at, we've had about 15 people all night. And there might be somebody who looks and says, well, man, you spent so much money on this room and there's nobody really watching this. Okay, that's fine. But I don't know what tomorrow's going to hold or the future. This is not just designed for this. It is set up for a number of things. When we had Bud on, when we had Greg on, and we were able to advertise these things and put our best foot forward, we've had more people. I don't know what this is going to look like in the future. If this never succeeds, I'm not concerned with that. It's another medium. It's 15 people who had fellowship and a devotion. Sure. And so that's worth it to me. And Pastor Daniel will be starting his morning devotions in here as well. Oh, okay. And if you could have seen this room beforehand, it did nothing. It served absolutely no purpose whatsoever. So now it has purpose. Now it has function. It's the coolest room in the whole church. So I'm grateful that we have a board that thinks like that, and I'm not sweating that or anything like that. But Scott, I wanted you to know it wasn't just me and him. A lot of people came together to make these decisions. And I've also told the staff, the staff here has a lot of freedom to make decisions and to try things and to move forward with things. If it doesn't work, try something else. And they know that they have that freedom. Yeah. Shannon Wise, who I know you have sung with for many years.
Shannon's one of my students. Yep.
Right? She says, I play the trachea. She just needs more hours in a day.
So we need to ask God to give you wisdom with your hours so that you can do that and make that happen. Because Shannon, I'd take you back and sing in a heartbeat. And I also saw Scott said something there.
Scott says, I can't sing, no talent, but he'll help Marcus. So
there you go, Marcus.
Scott, you don't have to wait for that. You can do that right now.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, listen to me. Right now, Marcus needs help. I can tell you this. Marcus, you tell me if I'm wrong. You jump in. Marcus loves Tuesday and Thursday. This is his favorite thing. I can tell you right now. He smiles the entire time. I wish you could see him behind the booth, because that view is kind of what Tim and I have, but we're looking through a window. He's constantly smiling. He's paying attention. He loves being the guy that's dependable, to get the mics working, all the cameras. He loves Tuesdays and Thursdays. I don't think he's giving that up. I really don't. I could be wrong, but I don't see that.
But there's so many things he does that are all valuable that we need other people to to do.
That I would even argue are potentially more valuable.
Oh, yeah.
We're trying desperately to grow a Spanish ministry, and it's tough when you're in a small country town. And we have a family that has committed. They live in Oregon City. They're making the trek 3 and 4 times a week, a half hour here and a half hour back. Ruth is part of that family. And it's hard business. And so we've started to live stream that. Well, that means guess who's got to be here? Marcus, show him who's got to be here.
Yeah.
Who is it? That's right. And he doesn't get paid. We don't pay him. And I know you're thinking, why don't you pay him? You should pay him. What do you want me to pay him with? I mean, we can't do it. I'll buy him a hairbrush. I don't know, a razor, something like that. I don't know. But he doesn't ask to be paid. That's not the point. But we also stream now the Saturday service, so that affords for Pastor Daniel, now Pastor Greg, and Mike Keller the opportunity to preach and to hone their skill and to grow into that.
Yeah.
Well, guess who's got to be here to stream that? Show them again, Marcus.
Yeah.
Right. And then of course there's Sunday morning, and it's a big deal. And just add one more thing. Streaming doesn't mean one guy.
That's right. You got the video aspect. Yeah.
Somebody's got to be behind the camera or cameras. Somebody's got to be at the slides that puts the scriptures and the sermon notes.
And then you have sound technician to run the board.
And then someone's got to run sound. And so for all of those things, Marcus needs your help. So Scott, do me a personal favor. Get a hold of Marcus. I'll forward you his phone number.
I will go ahead and say Scott Kaiser has actually contacted me.
Awesome.
So yeah,
Way to be.
Awesome, Scott. Rock star.
Yeah, that's
Right?
awesome.
Scott Kaiser, who's never attended a service in our church,
Yes.
is stepping up and saying, I'll do it. Way to go.
Yeah.
That's rock star stuff.
That's great.
So, get those things into motion. And we do have some people. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't recognize some of the people that have stepped up. Aaron Boss, Brianna.
Absolutely. Christopher. Christopher Boss. Yeah.
Hadiel.
Yep.
We want to recognize your mom and dad who are faithfully here all the time and those things. So
Hadiel's been here the last 2-3 Sundays in a row, learning how to stream, learning how to run camera.
as well as Fridays, from what I understand.
Okay.
Correct. So and so we're grateful for those things. Shelley Watt says, "Hi Ryan, love you, honey. Hugs to Gabby." So my son is on, and he didn't even say hi. Wow. Can you believe that guy?
Well, I tell you what, I'll talk to him when they move back here.
Yeah. Well, he was in your choir too.
I know. Ryan was in my choir because, we can always use those guys too.
I got to ask you something.
Yeah.
There was something that you did on it wasn't, I don't know, it was like senior night or something. You had like a choir night at the school.
Okay.
And you afforded, I only remember this because of what Ryan did. You afforded the seniors the opportunity to do something that you wouldn't normally let them do.
Senior
in the class.
spotlight?
No.
No.
Ryan walked out and he popped the soda can as he's walking late into the choir or something like that.
Yeah. On senior night, the last concert that seniors have, and regrettably my seniors this year didn't get to do that because we didn't have that opportunity. But they wear crazy hats, and so the curtain opens up and they wear crazy hats, and I give them a little flexibility to be a little bit more. How dare I say disrespectful?
Sure.
Yeah. They would never act that way normally to me.
Right.
I run a pretty tight ship in the classroom, but that one night they're allowed a little bit of there's some brevity there because of the night that it is. Yeah.
I just remember when Ryan walked out with the soda can and just was like totally disregarding.
Well, that's pretty much Ryan that whole senior year.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that. Ryan would tell you that Mr. Friesen, he still calls him Mr. Friesen, is just the best teacher he ever had. And even when Ryan and Gabby were here, they went over to your house and spent some time.
Come hang out for a couple hours. We had a great time with them.
Ryan last night, or when Greg was on, Greg has never heard Ryan play drums.
Right.
And Ryan can play drums very well.
Yeah.
And Greg was like, "Oh man, I really want to hear him play." And Ryan comes on and he goes, "Well, I'd love to play." And I'm like, "Tim offered you the opportunity to play when you were here last week."
I did.
And you were like, "Oh, I'm so tired.
Yeah, I'm going to take the week off.
I'm tired from my long flight. My 23-year-old body can't handle it."
Yeah. Well, yeah, we wanted him to play with us, but no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, We'll give you another opportunity there, Ryan.
Yeah. Well, Ryan and Gabby, I think they certainly do want to move out here.
I'd love to have them if they did.
And I think they will. I don't know that they want to live in Malala. I think they would come to church here. I do. I think that. But I don't know that they want to live here. But let's give them some time. But,
Sure. Absolutely.
They do have to get married down there. And they got their wedding invitation, so they're pretty happy about
Cool.
that.
Cool.
Sandy, your mom's on, Marcus, it would appear. They're not saying anything. They're just, it's like, hi, Sandy. So I'm guessing when they come on, Shelly says hi.
Yeah, I didn't get a notification on my phone
they're
that
just
she's on.
stalking.
And Ruth is here.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
Cool.
Well, Tim, our time is about up unless you got something else you want to throw in there.
No, this has been a lot of fun. It's
Yeah.
been kind of cool to be Ed McMahon to Johnny Carson here.
Well, you know.
Yes, sir.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Sis boom ba. The sound of a sheep exploding. I don't know. Whatever. Johnny Carson was great.
Oh, Johnny, he was hilarious.
Fantastic stuff.
Yeah.
Late night. I mean, I like Jimmy Fallon. I don't watch much of it, but it's totally different now.
Oh, yeah.
With all the
I must
skits
admit,
and all
though,
the
I
stuff.
must admit, Jimmy Fallon, he has his terrific moments. Yeah.
He's a funny guy.
I love it when he's writing letters.
You guys were going on your senior trip.
We were going to go to Universal, yeah.
There is a Jimmy Fallon ride.
Oh, really?
It's called Jimmy Fallon Escape Through New York.
Okay.
And it starts where you're in the studio at the Tonight Show.
Oh, okay.
But the ride's average. The ride's nothing special. But the best part about the ride is the queue. The queue has memorabilia from all the Tonight Show.
Oh,
so you
goodness.
have actual stuff that Johnny Carson used and Ed McMahon
Swami
and
and
what's the guy, Jack Parr or
Right, yeah.
and all of the Jay Leno, all those hosts, and all that stuff is there, and it's set up like a museum.
Okay.
It's really cool. I mean, the ride's not bad. It's not a terrible ride.
You're walking down memory lane if you used to watch the Tonight Show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
And they have like, I don't watch Fallon a lot, but I mean, they have hashtag the panda.
Yeah.
He's in the queue. He comes around, he talks to you. They have games that you can play. It's the queue to me is better than the ride. It really is. And then they have the ragtime gals come out and sing right in front of you and interact with you. So it's actually a pretty cool thing. If the sound video system was downstairs, I would help. I understand, Miss Jean. Thank you there. Thank you for that. Rebecca is on. I don't know Rebecca, probably Rebecca Page, but people just aren't saying hi to us anymore. Anyway, so it's 8:00. We'll do this again, and you can come on anytime. But it's been fun. Marcus, did you have a good time? Gabby, I'm just curious. Did Gabby have a good time? I'm just curious.
She's so happy right
Yeah, she's always happy. You know when she laughs like that in person, you don't really say you broke Gabby. That's kind of the thing. Shelley says there is always Shelley says there's always the camera. That's right. You can sit back there and tilt that camera. That's right, Marcus.
And it'll be even easier if I'm able to get my robotic tripod.
Great. More stuff.
More gizmos.
Just what we need. More stuff.
More stuff.
All right. So, you know what? It has been fun. It is 8:04. I haven't eaten tonight. So Carla made chili the other night, and there's some left over. So I'm going to have some chili. That sounds good. Well, it's late. I don't like eating this late. But
Right.
Oh, you know who's going to be in town? And they'll be in the sanctuary on Sunday?
Who?
Jalen. Remember Jalen Orr?
I thought you were saying Jay Leno.
Yeah, Jay Leno's going to be here.
So the Orrs?
No.
Okay.
And it's actually the Deans. You remember Jalen married Taylor?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, Taylor.
Taylor and Jean are going to be here.
Former student.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, and another guy who can sing and play guitar.
That's
too.
right. Yeah.
But they're going to be staying with us. I think
Awesome.
they get in
I
Saturday
am
night,
looking
so they're
forward
staying
to
with us.
seeing them.
And they'll be here.
That'll be great.
And so I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah.
So would you go ahead?
No.
Would you just do us? Yeah. Would you pray for us?
I would love to
and
pray
then
us out of here. Yeah.
We'll look at that camera and we'll give them the go tell somebody about Jesus.
Got it. Okay. Father God, we are blessed. Even through this whole pandemic, you've continued to bless your children.
Amen.
We're sitting in a room that's blessed because of that. We've met new brothers and sisters in Christ. We've gained new brothers and sisters in Christ because of this pandemic through the streaming and the Facebook nights that we have and everything. We are so grateful to you, Father, that through all of this garbage that's gone on the planet, you are still God.
Yep.
And you are still in control of our lives. And you hold us in the palm of your hand. And we are so grateful to be called your kids. And so, Father, thank you for tonight. Thank you for the time just to be able to just spend with PT and with our brothers and sisters online, and with Marcus. These are special times, special moments. And so I want to thank you for that. I thank you for the word that you brought us tonight, Lord. Lord, I'd ask that we would be mindful of the fact that we are called to love our brothers and sisters, our neighbor as ourself, regardless of culture or color or heritage or political background. We are called to love because we are all your children. And your desire is that all of us come to a repentant state with you, Father. And so, Lord, I pray that we would make sure that we model Christ's love to everybody that we encounter, regardless of where their stance is. That doesn't matter when it's covered by the blood of the cross, Father. And so I would ask that you would just guide us as children to make sure that we are salt and light in our community and our job place and wherever we are. So thank you for tonight. We pray for Carla especially, Lord, asking for healing for her, and that you continue to strengthen her. And all the other prayer requests that we didn't get to tonight, Father, but you know. So we turn them over to you and ask that you would do great and mighty things and just show yourself off to people because of your love for us. We're grateful. So go with us tonight. Keep us safe and bring us together again, Father, in your precious name. Amen.
Amen. Well, a couple things before we go. I don't know if I know you got to see it. I know Marcus but maybe some people who came on late. If you didn't get to see our new logo, Marcus, can you put that up there? We have it's a little GIF in GIF form.
Yep, it's coming up right
so
now.
check this out. It has awesome. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And I paid for that. It was.
I was going to ask
$12.
Really?
$12. I sent them the logo.
Yeah.
And it's a website called Fiverr, FIVERR.com.
Cool.
And what's really cool about this is if you have a skill set like if you do voiceovers like Chris Wallace, or if you have like Photoshop skills or video editing skills, you can provide a service and they will connect you with somebody.
Oh, wow.
Are you familiar with Fiverr, Marcus?
I am very familiar with Fiverr.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. So that was done by a guy on Fiverr. It cost me $10, and I get a free revision. What I've asked him to do is turn the white light part into that kind of teal blue.
The blue, like the logo.
Correct.
Here. Yeah.
And so we haven't got it back yet, but let me see. Maybe I do.
It'll be slick.
But
very slick.
That's what I'm.
$12. That's a good investment.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, it's like $10 for the fee, and then there's like a $2 service fee.
Right.
And you get it in 24 hours. So I gave it to him yesterday. I got that in 24 hours. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Now I can change the music to it or anything like that, but I thought that was very, very. Keisha Miles is on.
Hey.
Thank you so much tonight, guys, and thank you, Marcus, says Scott Kaiser.
Absolutely.
Yes, this whole mouse thing, we're going to have to do better than this, Marcus. This is not working for me. That's all right. Miss Connie Shaver is on. We love you, Miss Connie.
Hi, Connie. Miss you.
But we are going to, also the DS, the district superintendent, Dave Anderson, has agreed to come on.
Awesome.
I'm just waiting on the date. So I think it's going to be a Thursday. I think is what he said it would be, but I don't know if it's next Thursday or not. However, next week, Chris Wallace is going to be on remotely.
All right.
And we're going to talk Black Lives Matter, and we're going to talk politics, and we're going to talk the whole focus. It might be a two-part thing. It might be something we have to do back to back. I don't think it's Tuesday. I think we have to start Thursday because I think Chris's schedule is prevents him from Tuesday. However, Carla should be here, and we're going to talk with him about what's the Christian response.
Yeah.
I mean, so we're not going to get into too much of the politics. We're going to have to get into some of it.
Right.
But the cultural divide and people are going to be, I think, very surprised at what some of the things that Chris has to say. I think they'll be surprised at some of the things Carla and I have to say. But the concept is to present how, as Christians, should we be responding to what's happening in the country today.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. So you can look forward to those two things. And Marcus will talk more about how we can do that. I don't want to do through Zoom because we're limited in time. So we have to really figure out, there are a number of ways to do it. But if he had an iPhone, it'd be real easy. But he doesn't. He has an inferior phone like both of you guys do.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
If it's so inferior, then why is the iPhone using Android technology?
I don't know anything about what you're talking about. and my guess is you can't prove that. Anyway. Connie liked it. She said the rain is fitting. It is Oregon. That's right. All right, so Tim, 3, 2, 1. We're going to say it on there. 3, 2, 1.
Go tell somebody about Jesus.
God bless you guys. You are dismissed. Be well.
Good night.
Good night.